Hey everyone, what's going on? So in this video, I just want to show some interesting things about Game 6 of the Houston Rockets versus the Golden State Warriors. And I'm going to talk about gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases. And our sports leagues are absolutely scripted this way. Check out, the thousands of video links that I have. Our media scripted this way, our told history. Everything is scripted by this system. And there's some interesting things in regards to the score of this game, such as the Rockets scored 86 points the same day that the astronaut, think about the Rockets in regards to space, the fourth man to walk on the moon, Alan Bean, died at the age of 86 in Houston. And that same day, the Rockets scored 86 points. Oh, the odds. But what's interesting about this is that the Warriors scored 115 points. And I keep saying how everything goes back to with the Rockets and the Warriors and Chris Paul. The year Chris Paul broke his hand, the same year that the Warriors lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals. In that same year, Steph Curry also injured his knee against the Rockets on the 115th day of the year. So, and all season that season, I was talking about the number 115 being bad for the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry injured his knee on the 115th day of the year. Their streak was broke. Remember, they won 16 games in a row, and then they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks. And that was 1 month and 15 days into the season. They even lost on the 115th day of the season. There was a bunch of other things. I can't remember them all, but they lost a lot in regards to the number 115. Lots of bad things were happening to them. And just think about it this year. Just before, like, why all these games are going on with the Rockets, we get the story of, well, maybe I closed out of it. It was Sterling Brown, the Milwaukee Bucks player, gets arrested, right? Think about it. The Milwaukee Bucks are the team who broke the Rockets' 16-0 streak, or the Warriors' 16-0 streak. And this year, the Rockets beat the Warriors' 16-0 home playoff streak, right? So I feel like they're showing us the Rockets are going to beat the Warriors. I've been saying this all year. I think it's going to be Rockets and Cavs in the finals. It goes clear back to Caldwell Pope of the Lakers, not playing against Golden State, but he played against the Cavs and he played against the Rockets. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. But, I mean, it possibly could be for the Warriors. There's lots of things that seemingly are pointing to the Rockets. And so, I've been documenting it all year. So just bear with me here. This number 115 being really bad for the Warriors. And then the Warriors score 115 points. That same year, and the reason that Steph Curry fell was interesting because he slipped on a wet spot. And that whole series, they kept asking Draymond Green about the floods in Houston, which were called the tax day floods, right? It was all about the flood. Then the Splash Brothers, one of the Splash Brothers who rain threes, he slips and falls on a wet spot in Houston where they just had Houston floods. And think about it, last year we had Hurricane Harvey that caused all of the Houston flooding, right? And then after Hurricane Harvey, the first pitcher to pitch in Houston against Houston was Matt Harvey of the New York Mets. I mean, give me a break. Matt Harvey of the New York Mets. And then what happens? The Astros go and win the World Series. Matt Harvey pitched 52 days before the World Series began. And the word hurricane equals 52. The word Harvey equals 52. The word flood equals 52. It's absolutely no coincidence. And Matt Harvey, the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after Hurricane Harvey hits, give me a break. And the reason that I bring that up is just because we've had Matt Harvey back in the news in May, because Matt Harvey got traded to the Cincinnati Reds, right? And then we also just got the story about Harvey Weinstein or Stein. He got arrested, right? He turned himself in, so they're bringing back up this Harvey stuff. And what's funny about it is I documented about this yesterday afternoon, And then I literally come home after DJing, and this is the head story on the CNN. Flash floods ravage Maryland, right? So how interesting, there's even a flood story going on. And I just had documented about it earlier in the day before we even got that flood story. So you know what's important to what's going on. Also, Chris Paul played a big part. Chris Paul was in Los Angeles where the Dodgers play, right? And then he went to Houston, right? So it was like Chris Paul was synced up to it. Think about Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina was in 2005, which was the same year that Chris Paul it was his first year in the NBA, and he played for New Orleans. Also, in what I documented with Sterling Brown, the Bucks player who got arrested, I talked about how all of the racism stuff, it goes back to Donald Sterling, who was the owner of the Clippers when Chris Paul played there. And the big joke with all of that was that David Stern was leaving, and then Adam Silver, right? Sterling Silver, think about it. But Adam Silver takes over after David Stern leaves. A Clipper ship was actually a ship that was used in slave trading. If you look up the Baltimore Clipper. It was a ship that they used after they banned slave trading or whatever. So, because it was a faster ship and they could get away faster, right? So a Clipper ship was a type of ship that was used in slave trading. And then we got the Clippers owner being the racist, right? I mean, just think about that. The Clippers owner being the big racist. Stern is the back of a boat. Then we had David Stern quit, and then we got Adam Silver, Sterling Silver. That's a big joke with it all. So, just pointing that out again, you know. And now the big deal is Chris Paul's hurt again. I really wonder if like Steph Curry or somebody's going to get hurt in Game 7 tonight. But, I mean, who really knows? Just try to figure out what the point of all the coding is. Anyway, in regards to the Rockets scoring 86 points and all of this flood symbolism going on again, if you write out Hurricane Harvey, that also equals 86 in gematria. And Hurricane Harvey also hit right around the same time as James Harden's birthday. James Harden his birthday was the 26th of August, and Hurricane Harvey hit Texas on the 25th, so just something to think about. Also, Harvey Weinstein, he's born in the year 52 even, right? Harvey equals 52, hurricane, flood. Houston flood equals 52 and reverse reduced. Also the story with Matt Harvey then. So we got the story of Matt Harvey being traded to the Reds, and the Reds were the team that the Houston Astros tied in 2005. And that's significant because in 2016, when the Cubs won the World Series, I documented how they had that tie against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it was the first tie since the year 2005 when the Astros tied the Reds 114 days before the World Series began, and then the Astros lost to the White Sox from Chicago. But it was 114 days. The word tie equals 114. The Cubs won in their 114th season, being called the Cubs. They won the World Series in Game 7, getting their 114th win of the season. And 2005 was also the year the Eagles lost to the Patriots, right? So, and then the Eagles beat the Patriots this year. So, and also think about it in regards to, a lot of people thought that the Cubs were going to play Houston in the World Series that year because it was the 112th World Series, and Houston equals 112 in gematria, but they ended up playing Cleveland instead. I mean, just think about how that plays in with the Cubs narrative. The Astros equaling 112 is the 112th World Series. I talked about how it was going to be Cleveland versus the Cubs clear back in August, and I kept following this Native American theme that was going on, and then we got the Dakota Access Pipeline story stuff right around the same time as the Indians were in the World Series. I mean, give me a break. That's what the media constantly does. I just kept noticing this theme with the Indians, and then the Indians ended up playing the Cubs in the World Series. Also, the same day that Matt Harvey was traded to the Reds actually played his former team, New York, right? What are the odds of that? They trade him to the Reds, and then his team plays the Reds, And look who Houston played. Houston played Oakland, which is also sticks out because Oakland is where the Golden State Warriors play. So definitely something synced up to that. Yesterday, the Astros and the Indians even went to extra innings. I don't remember who even won. I think the Indians won. Was it 10-9? I could be wrong. I don't even remember looking it back up. But, I documented how it was interesting on the NBA Finals that Boston played Houston, which would have been a possibility in the NBA Finals, right? And the last time the Rockets lost an NBA Finals was against the Celtics in the year 86. So possibly this 86 is showing us the Rockets making the finals and losing to the Cavs because they lost in the year 86. But I really feel like, from what I've documented over the years, and the Warriors scoring 115 points is not a good thing for them. Possibly it's just saying they're going to lose in the NBA Finals. But there's been so much other things that are connected to the Rockets making the finals and playing against the Cavs that I've documented. Who knows? Try to figure it out. But I really still think it's going to be the Rockets versus Cleveland in the NBA Finals, and this 115 is bad. But, it was connected to the season that they made the finals and lost to the Cavs. So there's really truly a big narrative with New Orleans and Chris Paul. That's why even DeMarcus Cousins left the Kings and went to the Pelicans in New Orleans, and then he tore his Achilles against the Rockets. And his first game as a Pelican was against the Rockets, right? There's a bunch of Rocket symbolism going on with that. And last year I talked a lot about the death of Isaiah Thomas's sister in King County, and he used to be a former King, and then he got traded to the Lakers. And, Magic Johnson was best friends with the other Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, who tore his Achilles in the year 94, the year the Rockets won the NBA Finals. But all of that stuff with DeMarcus Cousins, and it all goes back to the king symbolism. And think about LeBron James being the king as well. But let me find it here. All of that stuff is interesting because Chris Paul got injured, and I don't know if he's playing tonight for sure, but the first game that he didn't play this season was against none other than the Kings, and the last time that he didn't play was against none other than the Kings, and then they played the Warriors the very next day. So, or it was after a game against the Warriors. So Chris Paul gets hurt on the second game of the season, I guess. Didn't play against the Kings. Did I put the same picture in here twice? I must have. Oh. And then on 4/11 this year was the last time he didn't play, and that was against the Kings. So there's definitely some crazy king symbolism going on. I talked about how possibly Prince Charles will become the king of England as well. And a Cavalier is a follower of King Charles during the English Civil War. So just think about that. King James was King Charles's son or father. So, and remember when the Cavaliers won the NBA Finals in 2016, they won it on the anniversary of the real King James's birthday. King James wins on the real King James's birthday. So, we'll leave it at that. I mean, there's other stuff I documented. I thought maybe it might end in Game 6 just because of the way it's synced up with the Super Bowl and Chris Paul being injured. Kind of like Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl when nobody thought that he would because of Carson Wentz's injury. There's a bunch synced up to Donald Trump as well. The last time the Rockets won the finals was on Donald Trump's 49th birthday and the 49th anniversary of the 49th year of the NBA. And we had the Santa Fe shooting that happened on 18/5. The word basketball equals 185, just like Donald John Trump. So that's a big thing. This year is the 72nd season of the NBA. Donald Trump will turn 72 years old on Flag Day. Think about him in regards to the flag and not standing during the national anthem. President Trump equals 72 at Gematria. Game 7 tonight. Game 7 in Gematria, interestingly, equals 44 and 91, just like Rockets. Chris Paul equals 44. James Harden equals 44. Rockets equal 44. What are the odds of that, you know? LeBron James equals 51. Cleveland equals 51. Cleveland Cavs equal 51. They won their first sports championship for Cleveland in 51 years. You know, Quicken Loans equals 51 where they play. Kobe Bryant equals 58. Los Angeles Lakers equal 58. I mean, it never ends. Just look up your favorite player. I guarantee you there is a gematria connection with their birthday or their name that is connected to at least all of these star players. They're like most of them are connected to the team that they're playing for or the team that they're going to be playing for in the future where they're going to make their biggest impact. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I gotta go to work really soon and I'm gonna make this video about George Bush and the 9/11 symbolism. So we'll see what happens in the game. I'm interested to see. I really think it's going to be the Rockets winning tonight, but I don't know. They both have the same gematria. Gold State 175. We'll see what's going on with it. We'll figure out the narrative, but I really think it's Rockets, Cavs, and I've been saying that all season. So we'll see what's up with it. Could just mean that the Cavs are going to win and beat the Rocket or beat the whoever they play too, I guess. But anyway, whatever. Done rambling. Have a good one. Peace.